It is Tuesday night here in Melbourne, Australia, which can only mean one thing. It is race night.
Race night.
Best night of the week. Best coverage of the Whip Racing League on the internet, according to one commenter on YouTube last week, said we're better than GCN's coverage of the Premier League. We tend to agree, of course. So I'm sure that's a qualified and unbiased opinion there from our YouTube fan base who look forward to this every Tuesday night. Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just checking, are we YouTube and Facebook tonight?
YouTube and Facebook, yeah, Facebook and Restream decided to speak to one another again this week, so that was exciting. So multi-channel, we're on Twitch as well. Not that anyone ever watches us on Twitch, but it was just an option, so there we go.
We've got to stop back on Twitch. I think
we probably should. Yeah.
Get on board Twitch and support Twitch.
Maybe we can grossly inflate the viewership. If we put our arms around the Twitch family and bring them into the Whip Racing League and show them what Race Night Tuesdays are all about, I'm sure they'll love it.
Yeah. No, I got some love on Twitch, so I've got to support it.
Yeah. So we are in with
Caleb Carl used to give me some love on Twitch.
So, there you go.
My brother Caleb Carl out there in the US. Hopefully I race against you soon again, mate.
All right, so we are back APAC region. Obviously, we're in with the B graders again. We might try and catch some of the C's if we can and jump back and forth. There's a 6-kilometre circuit we've got tonight, so might be able to catch a few of the intermediate sprints in the C grade as well. So bumper race last week, Josh, and we were pretty spot on too with our call of the results. So Vision came out on top last week, but it was a real battle for the top 4 or 5 positions.
Yeah, right. Sorry, just got 2 things going on at once. Yes, we were relatively close, and it did seem all over the place. It was really difficult to keep in touch, but we just, by general feel, I guess, we were able to really work out what was going on. So good call by you. I just sort of went by general feel. I think you had a bit more scientific method to it. But
no, it was.
I just feel like Vision were doing well. They were just there a lot.
Yeah, no, nothing more scientific than you. Just gut feel and enough time racing to get a feel for who's doing what. So yeah, we saw some great team tactics from the teams. Vision, the Innsbruck Ringers, they went all in on a couple of the sprints and scooped a bunch of points, which ended up being the winning strategy on the night. So they got up 237 points to the WMZ Bs on 220. So 2 clear dominant teams so far, 1 week in. And then we had a bit of a logjam. So Aero, Cryogen, Aeropress, Cryogen, Aerodynamics, and the AHDR Ballers all within about 11 points of each other in 3rd through to 6th on the leaderboard last week. So yeah, a bit of an exciting league emerging here in the B grades.
Yeah, look, and I think it was very much just an element of last week's race. It was very much the case in my league where we raced. We finished in 7th and literally only shy of 4th by 20 points. We did have one rider have a technical and dropped out, so that may have been the points difference.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It comes down to the finest differences sometimes these racing leagues. As we, speaking of which, just saw one rider just sort of miss the start there. So M from Velo Club looks like he's off to a poor start tonight, just dropping off the back there. And 60 races here tonight, taking on the London Classique course. So I think anyone who's raced on Zwift has probably done this one at some stage. It's a pretty regular one on the circuit, popular one amongst sprinters and the flat racing fans. A couple of little bumps though, Josh. So a couple of interesting tactical points along this course we might see.
So I mean, just as we have this long lead-in, so plenty of time to chat until we hit this first segment. It is a 5.8k lead-in, and we do have this sort of bunching up, and I wouldn't be surprised if M from Velo Cup does get back on, because it should realistically bunch up a little bit now. Then we've got a nice long sort of cruise through some rolling hills down through the tunnel. We come up next to the river, and then we take the right-hand turn up Northumberland Avenue, I think it is. and
Yep,
that comes
close
at
enough.
the 3.3K mark, and that's where we'll see the first sort of, power being put down. But that's still 2Ks or so to go till the actual first start-finish banner of the segment.
Yeah, I expect that's going to be. I'm sure we'll see some riders shelled there. As much as everyone's expecting it to go hard there, it's almost like a little leg snapper from Innsbruck. It tends to kick off there, and it's not a huge effort, 20 or 30 seconds, but it always does string out. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some gaps there. And yeah, not far from that point around the hairpin down onto the first intermediate sprint. So we could very well see some fireworks.
Yeah, definitely. Now, how did you go last week, Adam?
Poorly, very poorly, racing up in A grade from my usual B.
Any segment
Just
points? Any segment points?
no,
Surely you took some segment points.
no, absolutely not. I was hung on for dear life through the first sprint. I was gapped quite meaningfully so on the second one, that long sprint with the fastest segment time. So ended up racing in a group for 50th spot. I love the level of competition in this league. There was a coordinated team effort between two teammates against me and one other rider to sprint for 50th spot. So I got relegated to 53rd, I think. And I had no legs after that KOM. We really did light it up the KOM despite the poor placing, as you know, every point gets raced for it.
Interestingly, the points difference between 50th and 53rd probably wouldn't have been anything.
I don't think so.
The same points. Yeah.
I don't think so, but gotta love the competitive spirit in Zwift Racing League. So,
yeah.
hoping for perhaps a closer finish tonight. This is a good course for me.
Yes.
I've raced it in this format before as well on the Zwift Classics. Had a win there. That was in the AutoCAD, of course, not racing in the A grade. So we'll see how we go tonight. Just hoping to hang on and contest that bunch sprint. I'd be happy. Otherwise, it is a long ride. If you do get dropped 6 laps of the Classique course, that's a bit of a drag if you're off the back.
Yeah, you definitely do want to just stay with a small group there and share the load and get through those 38 or so kilometers.
So power ups tonight. I think we've got our Classic Aero and Draft Van in play, but we also have the Ghost.
Yep, Ghost is back. Your favorite, famously used on Downtown Dolphin. Go back and put a link to that video.
I think I should
tonight, mate. Yeah, that's
relive that one.
That one's a historic use of the Ghost Ghost power up. Otherwise, it's really useless.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anyone, I don't know, has a go at maybe a long go at the sprint, or maybe see if they can sneak off the front here. I don't know. I'm not convinced that the Ghost is going to be a deciding factor tonight, but happy to be proven wrong.
You did hit the nail on the head. The chat in the AHDR Cake Crusaders, or Cheesecake Crusaders, sorry, which is the team I race in, is to use the Ghost if available on the long attack, about 700 out. I'm not going to name names on who's thinking about doing it, but there is an option for a 700-meter attack to the segment using the Ghost.
All right, so as we come up the first real attack point of this course, I'm going to sit in with Annie from the WMZB's known antagonist in this field. Loves a good attack. This is a perfect spot for her to start exerting some of her usual offensive riding, although it looks like she might just be letting others maybe take up the pace here, as we see Ranger from Vision kicking up to 10 watts a kilo just to hold the front. Some big numbers early, Josh.
Yeah, and I mean, Annie loves those little rises and putting that power down, but I do think this might be just a little bit too short and early in the race for her to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Annie add some spice to the race later on, because there is that second, when we get onto the lap proper, there is another little rise when it's the left-hand turn. I've forgotten the name of the street, but it's the left-hand turn up to
Whitehall.
Whitehall, that's the one, Whitehall. So I wouldn't be surprised if Annie attacks there, is able to go solo around this sort of the hairpin area now as they then approach into the roundabout and down to the segment on the mall.
I've got to say I was a bit surprised there by just how bunched that field stayed. I would have sworn that we might have seen some attrition there. Maybe we've got one or two riders just starting to get gapped at the back here as that group came back together. As we sit in with Eastwood from Aeropress and Delaney here from Cryogen. So maybe a couple just gapped by that surge, but for the most part, not quite the acceleration that I thought. Maybe riders thinking about the intermediate sprints coming up pretty soon after, and we're a kilometre now from that first sprint point.
I think these riders do need to be careful because this bunch isn't going to sit around, especially as they approach that roundabout as we're seeing now, and then the first segment. So I'm not feeling good for these guys.
No, I think we're going to be leaving them to their race and jumping in now with the front of the bunch, and maybe I'll see if I can spot a likely rider here who might contest the first sprint. As we see, this is kicking off very early. I'll try and get to the front here on this list. See who's lighting up. It's orange numbers starting to go already. And it is Ranger from Vision who's leading it out, closely followed by Slater from Aero 1 and 2. They've gone a long way up, not even on the segment proper yet. Remembering there are faster segment time points as well. Here come the chasers. Yeah, Todd from Dynamics over the top. Richard Sparks from the WMZB. Looks like he's going to get there though over Todd from AHDR. And then we have Cryogen. We have sort of Fleabag from the AHDR Ballers, new rider there from AHDR that I haven't seen before. Maybe a couple of other aero riders as well. So nice mix of teams. Maybe WMZ on top at this stage would have to be close. Really nice mix of teams there in the top 10.
Just going to click over to Swift Power and see where we are. I'm just waiting for a live update now. So you can see how long that has strung out. So for those riders that are caught at the back, or those two riders, definitely, I do not see them getting back on because it's a big effort to get back to that front. I know, so the team strategy that we're looking at is we've actually split the team again. So last week we split the team into the sprinters and the finishers. So the sprinters obviously took those first 3 segments, and our finishers tried to get up the KOM, the rooftop KOM, and then obviously tried to finish as high as possible. We're doing that the same. We're splitting the team again, but we're actually going to go alternate laps.
Nice.
Going to do the segment duties. So alternate lap segment duties. So again, not going to name names just in case our enemies are watching. But what I'm trying to say is when it's for me specifically, or for us in our league, when you're not on segment duties, you still kind of have to sprint just to stay in touch.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing these riders just paying the penalty now of just maybe a bit of inattention or not quite having the watts to stick with the main bunch through that sprint, and a sustained interval here of sort of 4 to 5 watts a kilo at the back just to get back on. And we're probably over a kilometre past that sprint point now, so this is really taxing. If you do lose that the main the critical mass of the peloton there, big effort here from some riders.
Yeah, Kelly from AHDRB is just still 2 seconds off the gap at 4 watts, up at like 5 and 6, and still not
bike choice. Well, classic aero setup tonight. There's been some discussion around whether our favourite, the Specialized, whether it's still the best choice.
Cervelo, you mean?
Sorry, the Cervelo, the Cervelo S5, the 2020 with the disc. I think the disc, the DT Swiss, the die-cut disc is still a must. But I've heard, I think it's might be the S-Works that's now fastest frame, or maybe it might be one of the Scott frames, I think, combined with the die-cut disc. Is the fastest frame. So yeah, mix of Trons on, plenty of Tron bikes as usual, but then a little bit of a mix. So we can sort of have a look at a couple of riders here sporting the die-cut disc. We do have a few
zips there as well.
a few on the zip wheels. We've got a couple on the Cervelo with the disc, and then we've got one here on the S-Works with the disc, which I think might be. I might go for that setup actually. I quite like the look of the S-Works, so it could be the go tonight.
It's It was something to do with the group set upgrade, wasn't it? That
Yeah, added just a
apparently
little
made
bit of
the track
weight.
a bit heavier. Yeah.
Yeah, as we are past that statue, which, anyone who races course will know, signifies when the road pitches up, and we'll start to see a little bit of aggression here. Perhaps, I guess it'll be a matter of how much those riders' legs are taxed from the intermediate sprint. On a normal race where we're not racing through each lap banner, it already kicks off. Maybe they're taking it a little bit easier, although I'm seeing numbers up over 5 watts a kilo just to hold on to this front bunch. So definitely enough to tax the legs of these riders, and see one rider really, launching with the ghost. Who is that? Here we go. It's a coordinated attack here from the WMZBs. A couple of well-known antagonists in this field, Ian Maynink and Annie, who's sort of in no man's land or no woman's land in between the two, but she's making some ground here to the wheel of her teammate. And maybe these two looking to go all the way for fastest across the line points on this lap.
Yeah, and I mean that's the effect of the ghost power up there, up that hill. And did I not call that about 5 minutes ago? I said that Annie would go on the rise on Whitehall and try and go solo.
Yeah, well, the only thing you got wrong was they're doing it in a duo, the WMZBs, and opening up a gap too. 4 seconds from the front of the peloton now, and these two not seeing a lot of an effort here from the back. We've got Benham from Vision pushing 5 watts a kilo, but no one else really taking up the momentum here to try and close these two down. And 5 seconds could be enough, Josh, with a kilometre to go to the line.
Well, look, and that's the thing. It's a kilometre. It's still quite a long way to go. We, I think we can potentially make up that if that bunch behind starts to react, which we're seeing a reaction there by AHDR ballers pushing up to 5.5, 6 watts per kilo.
Yeah, well, someone had to do it, and AHDR and Vision look like they're moving to the front here. We've got a collection of riders from those two teams. We know the WMZ are well known at the top of the table here. They're a strong team. They won the division last season. And that gap is starting to come down, Josh. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, definitely tight. And we've got to remember that the segment itself is actually only about 200 meters long. So there's a long lead in. So you've got that roundabout, then you hit the red pavement, and we can see that bunch starting to catch and really close that down as it lights up into orange.
Yeah, that move is going to get closed down as Todd from the Dynamics kicks clear. So we've got the aerodynamics here, 1 and 2. WMZ trying to come over the top. Looks like a WMZ teammate is going to get in here for some points as well. But Todd from the aerodynamics, he's just popped on the line. Nick from Velo Club. That is a
Nick from Velo Club. Yeah,
beautifully timed sprint there. Comes through. It's not going to register as on the top times here, I think, because we've got the A-grade times in here as well. But 28th overall is probably going to be quite a reasonable faster segment time as well. Beautifully timed sprint there.
Very well timed sprint there from Nick Velo Club. Let's just have a look at his numbers. I'll click on him.
It's a name I've seen many a time racing on Zwift. So whether it's Zwift Racing League or just your regular Sunday afternoon race or whatever it might be, definitely an experienced Zwift racer and showed his class there for sure.
Yeah, so Nick is a level 50 rider, has been riding for a while, and he's got a 10 watt per kilo, 10.7 watt per kilo, 15-second effort, and I think he just timed that beautifully.
That looked like, just some exquisite drafting there, and just brilliant timing, saved his effort, got the most out of it, and caused a little bit of a split here, but I don't think it's anything too dangerous. We've got nice numbers here in this second group on the road, and it looks like we'll all be bunched back together. Although I did just see a name pop up. It looks like Laurent Doyen from the AHDR Ballers. He was the one that lit it up to chase and close that gap, but unfortunately, someone had to do it, and Laurent took one for the team there, and managed to, I suppose, light the fuse, started the chase, but he's off the back. Right, so interesting tactics there. Nice to see some aggression from WMZ. Didn't quite pay off in the end, although they did still manage to snaffle some good points there with some of the other teammates there ready to back up Annie and Ian Maynink, who took off up Whitehall. So definitely going to be some riders watching very closely to see what happens here on this next lap.
I'm just having a look through what we've got in this group. There's a definite split of a group that we're probably watching now of about 45-ish riders, I think, Adam.
Yeah, looks like we've got 45 left.
Yeah.
Now I might just I might regret this. I'm going to try and just briefly jump in with the C graders, and let's have a look at where they're up to. It looks like we've just missed sprint there in the C grade race. Let's have a quick look at how they are going, as they look like they've done 2 laps. Remembering they're only racing 5 tonight, so we might. It's going to be awkward actually. 5 laps versus 6. We'll end up finishing at the exact same time, right? If we're unlucky. But looks like this group has held together. No, we've got a very strung out tail end through that sprint. So jumping back with them, similar to our B grade race actually, about 45. Looks like we'll have in the peloton, and then a few riders getting shelled each lap from those sprints. So looks like they're sort of in sync at the moment, these 2 races. So I think as it wears on, we might be able to hopefully catch a few of the intermediates. But Yoza, if you're watching, or if you're watching on the replay, I'm sure he's concentrating on his racing at the moment. But he's always keen to feature on Liftaholics, is Yoza. So to make sure we give him a look.
Now, where's our viewers tonight? We haven't seen any comments yet.
No, plenty. Actually, we've had a few eyes on. Plenty of people tuning in to watch, but no comments yet. Very, very quiet, subdued chat.
Yeah, quiet chat tonight. What's happening? Everyone's keeping quiet. I'm just checking on YouTube as well. Not seeing anything there. So no, quiet bunch tonight. Feel free to jump in and help us out with our commentary. We need help as much as anyone. Speaking of commentary, what about Robbie McEwen getting dropped from SBS?
Really? You're breaking that news to me. I wasn't across that. There you go.
Well, yes. So Robbie McEwen dropped from SBS coverage after the Road Nationals.
There you go. Well, it's cutthroat world, this commentary, Josh. You know, I tried to drop you tonight when you said you might not be able to make it. I was looking for replacements.
You did. I was on swimming lessons duty and then bedtime with kids, and I cut it really fine.
Tell you what, here we go again. This ghost move up Whitehall seems to be the way to go. We've seen 2 riders here. Kemp from AHDR and Mulligan from WMZ, both employing the ghost up Whitehall just to open up a bit of a gap. And even though we saw this move shut down last lap, it looks like we're going to have a go again, Josh.
Yeah, interesting to see it go again. Look, again, antagonists of WMZs, like, you know, they're out here with a plan, aren't they?
Absolutely.
So this is definitely the strategy that they're wanting to go with. So, you know, realistically, they're showing their cards to the rest of the riders that are out there. So, I just can't help but feel that it's going to get shut down again.
Think so. It's
maybe we saw Laurent from AHDR pay the price, so maybe, you know, it might settle in the group a little bit more this time, and they go, you know what, let them go. We want to save ourselves for the next few sprints that's still to come.
Yeah, I think these 2 riders are going to have to work together a lot more if they want to stay away. Mulligan from WMZ is quite content to let the aerodynamics rider sit on the front at 5 watts a kilo and drive the pace. So some clever riding here, cagey riding from Mulligan. And these riders holding a 3-second gap. We saw, I think it was a 4 or 5 second gap shut down.
It was 4 second shut down relatively quickly. So I think we're going to need a lot more than that. Like, you know, and they were caught before the segment.
Yeah. Yeah, caught with...
You know, let's call the segment a 10-second segment at least. And so, yeah, I think they've got to really work hard and get up to that sort of like 5-6 plus seconds to get away.
Yeah, so Mulligan's still just letting Kemp from Aero just sit there, burn up his legs. Looks like he's still holding sort of 4.5, 5.5 watts per kilo. Mulligan, nice and fresh. He might have enough just to kick and hold here. So is it? And it looks like exactly what he's going to do with about 600 meters to go. He's sat in. He's got a beautiful ride to a 2-second gap from the peloton. Kemp from Aero, he's spent. The peloton's going to swallow him up, I think, as the sprinters do start to kick up their wattage. Sparks from WMZ, Martin from Cryogen, Todd from Aerodynamics again in amongst it. Ilya Lesniak from AHDR also kicking, trying to catch this lone rider from WMZ.
Mulligan needs to go again. He hasn't got it.
Hasn't got it. Who's it going to be? Sparks from WMZ taking the lead. Benham Provision over the top. Looks like Benham Provision's going to get the points. And then another nice mix of teams. Aero, AHDR, Cryogen, WMZ following up there. So, this is tough to call in terms of our...
Look, we're seeing a lot more vision in that one. I haven't seen... that sounds funny, doesn't it? We've seen a lot more vision riders in that sprint, and Bennett, our winner from last week, who was very aggressive in the sprint. So maybe they were just happy to sit in those first couple of laps and now start to put the pressure on.
Yeah, and there's certainly been a bit of pressure here. So I just caught a glimpse of looks like maybe a mechanical here for Ilya from the AHGR Ballers. He is at 0 watts a kilo. That's not good to see. Mulligan from WMZ, who put in that long effort off the back. I tell you what, it's looking like pretty high stakes in this race if you're going to go for that long attack, because we see Kemp as well, his co-conspirator, trying to go for that long-range attack, dropped. So, it's a bit of a nasty course, isn't it, Josh? I'm starting to get a little bit worried here about the penalty for going the long attack and getting it wrong. Or not surviving.
Just don't go the long attack. As simple as that. Like, save the long attack for the finish if you're there. You know, I think that's you'd be silly to throw that effort in during the race. I mean, we've still what have we done? We've done 3 sprints now, so we're only on lap 3.
So we're on lap 3, yeah. So
yeah.
So we've got 4 full circuits to go. Just about. This is I'm not even halfway done here. There's a lot of riding left.
So just to do the math for everyone at home, we have a 5.8 kilometer lead in, which then takes us through the segment for the segment banner for the first time, and then we click over lap 1.
Yeah.
And we've got 5 laps from there. So technically
6 laps for A and B grade.
6 laps. Okay, there you go. So it's 6 laps from there, which is technically 7 laps.
Yeah, so 7 sprints all up, yeah.
7 sprints all up, if you want to call it, or 7 sprints, we should say. It's the right way to say it. So there's a long way to go in this race with 7 efforts.
Yeah, so a couple of people in the Facebook chat. So Espen is online, commenting on how long that straight is leading up to the line. You're not wrong, Espen. It's a good 600 or 700 meters of just straight pavement. It's a nasty finish to be going long. You really do need to time your effort there. And brutal, says Cy Bradley. So nice to see you again, Cy. Cy's back again for another ZRL season, pumping out the great content and the race recons. So make sure to check those out to get into the nitty-gritty detail of the course and the points and everything as well. So Cy Bradley on YouTube, ever popular, and back again for season 2 of the 20... Or what are we calling this? Yeah, we're going. I think that's the right nomenclature. Season 2.
Season 2, 21 and 22.
Yeah.
So good to see you. Good to see you. Was it last season that we raced this course, or was it the season before?
Have we done this in
season?
I don't think I've
raced this in ZRL.
I don't know if I have. I must have missed it. We've done a lot of London time trials, but
unless it was with Classics.
We did do the Classics around here.
Because I do remember Espen and I were speaking, a teammate of mine, that he tried the long attack as well. So very familiar with that long attack. I do remember Espen going, and I was like, mate, you're on your own. I'm just going to sit back and wait for the red pavement for anything that I'm going to do.
Yeah, that was a brilliant race, that Classics race. I can remember you talking me through it, and we had an instigator like Annie and Main Ink, and these guys going long, and every lap it seemed like there was some action happening. Going long on the sprint, and then it ended up being the winning move was following the long attack from about 1 kilometer to go.
Yeah, look, I'd even hold in and just hold wheels. Even later, once you hit the archway coming onto the red pavement, that's when the effort starts. You you're winding up to hold the wheels, and then that's when the effort really for the sprint goes.
Yeah, I love nothing
I know.
more than seeing someone go at about that point and having a wheel to follow to about where that segment
Oh yeah,
starts at about 300
yeah.
to go, 250 to go. Yep, that's the spot that you want.
That is the reason why I don't do no HUD racing, because I sit there and watch for the orange numbers. As soon as I see orange, then I
It's time to
react.
go. Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. So fairly tame right up Whitehall that time. No ghosts. So I think the group probably feeling the effect of some sustained efforts chasing long range moves on the last 2 laps. As we see a bit more action in the chat, mechanical for Ilya confirmed on YouTube. That's really unfortunate. So one racer down for AHDR. Sai has given up on what we call this season. It's just too complicated, this naming. We're here, that's all we know. And yes,
it's Tuesday night race night. That's
Tuesday,
all.
it's race night. That's it.
That's it.
And sure, just talking about how us AHDR riders, we do love a long range kamikaze attack. Yes, we can't help ourselves, can we?
You want to see long range kamikaze attack? I think it's EMEA West A2. Chris Davies.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Captain Donut. Watch him do his thing. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and make sure you join in the the pony lap, the after party on the AHDR Euro Hump Day ride is always a good one. If you want to see riders going too early and blowing up, there's some spectacular fireworks in that one.
Yes, yeah, that is where you try anything and everything for that pony lap. It's good fun. Now this is playing directly into the hands of Vision. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to call it now. They are going to rack up points from now on in this race. WMZ really need to. They've spent a few matches going for those early breaks, and again at the front with Annie.
They can't help themselves, can they? Speaking of long range attacks and kamikaze style riding, WMZ have just embodied the kamikaze tonight. So again, going for the long one, and again going to get hauled in here. We knew Annie was going to have a go, but they're starting to range up behind her, and we see Todd from the Aerodynamics again. So some familiar names here. Fleabag from the AHDR Ballers closing though. This is a fantastic ding dong battle. Fleabag from AHDR now coming over the top of Todd from Aerodynamics. I think he's going to get there, and these two are going to hold off. Are they? No, Josh's pick comes through. I think it was Benham from Vision taking maximum points there. I did see another Vision rider, Lujian from Vision as well in that top 10. So you called it. Vision seems to have the #1 flat sprinting team in the mix today, and they've got 3 jerseys at the front there as well, so they might have picked up some additional minor points there as well. So a great lap for Vision, and I think that team is well and truly on top now as we've come through. What was that? Lap 3 completed, so we've got 3 full circuits to go to get to the finish here. And once again, some stringing out. We'll try and get to the back of the field here. And once again, the long range attackers. This is becoming a theme. Attrition from the kamikaze attacks as Annie, our chief provocatrix, dropping to a 3-second gap now. Fighting valiantly though, 7 watts a kilo. If she can sustain this effort.
I was going to say, if there's anyone that's going to be able to get back on, it's Annie.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw it last week. We thought she was. We'd ruled her out completely.
Yeah, and I mean, look at her now. Look, she's going to get back on. I'm going to call it.
Yep, she's going to get there. That gap's coming down now. 2 seconds to the back. You can never count her out, Annie, at all. So she's on. We've lost a couple more, down to 38 in the peloton, assuming that Annie's going to close down this 2-second gap, which it looks like she will do.
And I mean, look, Annie's and I guess the WMZs, they're trying their strength here. They're trying their strength. Their strength is the long range attack. So good on them.
Absolutely,
for doing what they think they can do. We know Annie can hold 6.5 watts per kilo for endless amount of time, and beat anyone up a hill at that, or get back, make up a 3-second gap, 4-second gap that no one else can.
Absolutely,
which we've just seen her done now and come across to the front.
Yep, 99% of the time. Yeah, 99% of the time you would have said that was race over for a rider at that sort of gap, but Annie's definitely got the tenacity to get back on. So she just rolled through to the front here, rejoin the peloton. There's 38 riders remaining in contention, 2 intermediate sprints left, and then we're onto our bell lap coming around to the end with Vision and WMZ lighting this race up. Aero definitely been in the mix again as well. I think there's probably our top 3 teams at this point.
Yeah, AHDR just not there, but not in those top numbers. So they'll be definitely picking up points in that lower end of the top 10 each time through, but maybe not just getting enough of those, in those upper, top 3 spots.
You haven't seen quite the dominance from AHDR. So Adam Evans was one of the key riders in this field last season. He got the upgrade to A, so he's racing up a grade this season. So they've lost one of their big point scoring weapons in Adam Evans. So always the challenge racing at the pointy end of B grade is you do lose riders between seasons and through seasons to upgrades. So yeah, a bit of a mix of riders here, and yeah, AHDR definitely battling to kind of hold that mid-table position, and we'll see what happens in the team time trials, I suppose, because that is an AHDR strength.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. So Espen mentioned that there were plenty of tacks in Premier League. I didn't get to jump in. Did you watch it all, Adam?
No, I didn't. I did hear that there was some different rule set, I think, in Premier League in terms of which laps accrued points and things like that. So a little bit of a different race, I gathered, but the definitely attacking that was the theme. No arguments there.
All coming back. So it's very difficult for anyone to stay away. So Esmond's saying is all coming back to, and even a smaller group, they're all coming back together.
Yep. Yeah, this does look like a sort of attrition off the back kind of a race rather than a small group getting away off the front. As we come around to the Whitehall rides again, so I'm going to guess this is going to be a fairly subdued section of road. I think the riders are definitely feeling the effect of those intermediate sprints every lap, and they come up pretty quickly. So we've been racing 34 minutes and we've already had 4 sprints. So pretty taxing for these riders every 7 or 8 minutes to be going up this rise and holding a bit of a surge here and then sprinting to hold on to the back. But as I say it, does look like there's some serious numbers here. I've seen 7 watts a kilo here from some riders, and we might just have some riders stretching off the back here, just struggling to hold on to this pace a little bit.
Yeah, not quite long enough for much damage to happen. I'd be confident to say that these riders will sort of bunch up again through the roundabout and onto the flat area.
Yeah, safe and sound.
There doesn't look like there was any ghost power-ups being popped there either. So the group just coming through together.
It's one thing we haven't seen. We've seen a few arrows and drafts in the sprint. Haven't seen anyone try and use the ghost power-up in that final sprint from those front riders that we've been following. So that'll be an interesting one, just to, I don't know, maybe if things are cooling down up that Whitehall rise, maybe some are holding onto it thinking tactically with that one. We'll have to see what happens here as we come through to finish lap 4 in a couple of kilometres.
If I was DSing the WMZs, I would say if you get a ghost, hold on to it for the 1K to go and then pop it and try and get that gap there.
Yeah, so that would be interesting to see. We've seen some attacks go very, very long and just run out of legs on that long finishing straight, but no one's really had a go. Yeah, from in between.
I want to see it. Who's listening? I want to see that. I'm going to watch every lap from the this banner coming up, the 1K to go, because I think that's where an Annie could pull off a segment there.
It's definitely her kind of range, her kind of effort. We've seen her put in those kind of 6.5, 7 watts per kilo for the minute and a bit that it might take to get through to the finish line. Looks like all quiet this time though. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what the strategy is here. We might just have a conventional bunch sprint.
Maybe Ilya needs to get onto his teammates at AHDR. I know you're listening, Ilya. I know you're annoyed about your mechanical, but tell your teammates to go for that long range ghost attack.
All right, so a few draft power-ups going now. We do have one rider kicking things off with about 500 meters to go to the line. Let's see if we can get to the front and see who this is who's attacking. So Glass from the Aerodynamics, so new name in the mix here. Is done a brilliant job here with the aero power-up. It's opened up an enormous gap. And
Ooh.
I've gone...
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. We're back with our team.
Lost there, it's all right. There we go.
Yes,
Yeah.
here we go. Here we go. So... Oh, we'll try and catch that. Sorry, just jumping around, clicked on the wrong thing. But
so that was WMZ's up the front there. I saw 2 WMZ riders.
Yeah, and I think a couple from Vision as well. I saw Ian from Vision.
So I'm pretty sure Manic from WMZ's took that sprint there, from what I could see, followed closely by another WMZ rider. So WMZ's starting to evolve with the race.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened there. I don't know who I clicked on. Managed to catch a rider just chasing maybe the faster segment time. Just, from a lap position or something. I don't know what I've done, but we're back.
I reckon that was just a little glitch in the and we just lost all the other riders.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 4 laps down. Onto our 5th lap now. I might just see if we can. Yeah, so it looks like Glass is a lap down on the rest. So maybe got dropped there and then decided just to sit in with the bunch and try and catch some faster segment time points as the bunch came through. So why not if you're already off the back? All right, I'm going to quickly jump in with our C grade race. Looks like they've got coming up to their 4th lap of 5. I was kind of hoping they'd be a little bit closer to the finish line. It's going to be maybe a little bit too tricky to hang on and catch the finish of this one. Let's just have a quick look at the makeup of this peloton. Looks like AHDR well represented again, and not too much attrition here from when we last jumped in. So looks like we've got about 30 riders, so a similar race to the B graders, 37, 38 riders left in the front peloton. So losing a couple off the back through here, but by and large staying together. So we might just stick in with the C graders. Let's have a look at this intermediate sprint, and then we'll jump back in for the Bs and watch the end of the B grade race. I'm trying to remember if we had any go-to big name sprinters here in the C grade from when we had those guys joining us. We might. I'm sure they'll come to the front soon enough as we see Plumber from TBR. Looks like he's going to take the initiative here, doing this long solo effort to the line. This is a nice gap though. Plumber from TBR has gotten out to 2 seconds here. And doesn't look like they're going to catch him. This is a very nice long-range effort. As we see the very tighter race in behind, very tight blanket finish there for the 2nd through to 10th. So good luck picking that one out. A few HDR jerseys in the mix, and looks like Cryogen well represented at the front there. But there we go. So a long-range effort got away on that one, and maybe these later laps when the legs are a little bit tired might just be enough. Maybe an opportunity to get some of those long range attacks in, Josh.
Yeah, no, I mean I think it can be done. Definitely can be done. I think it's just all about that timing and reading what the bunch is doing. If it's at this stage of the race, legs are tired. People are starting to think about the finish. So this is where where I would try and go for an effort, because I've sat in and I can rely on a little bit of that extra leg speed to get through. I do want to make mention of that C grade race with the AHDR choppers. We've got husband and wife in the team. I don't know if you know that insider.
No.
Gavin Wright and Liz Hall riding together in AHDR choppers.
How good's that?
Yeah, husband and wife duo in the choppers there. So give them a mention. I know them from the Melbourne cycling scene. So good to see them out riding again.
Very nice. So I did see, I think Annie had a ghost this lap and she did pop it, but not looking to really take the ascendancy here, but I do see there's a couple of riders who are just disappearing with the Ghost power up off the front. So it'll be interesting to see when they reappear whether they're actually going to kind of open up a gap here and stretch this one out or not. It doesn't look like anyone's really managed to get away there, so we're going to be all bunched again coming around to this penultimate lap, penultimate intermediate sprint. Comment in the chat from Rob Bain. Hello, Rob. Regular viewer on Zwiftaholics, just asking whether power-ups are only at the lap finish banner. Yes, apart from there is one bonus one in the lead-in as you go through the London Loop banner, just a few hundred meters from the start. So you can grab one there for the first intermediate sprint, and then each lap you can pick one up as well.
And Alez Suznik going for the Vision tonight, and look, I hope to see Vision and Benham going for some big sprints at the finish line here.
Yeah, I think they have to be on top at the moment. I mean, the fastest time through the segment points are a bit harder to pick, but you think that Vision seemed to have the strategy down pat last week. They seem to have the strength here, 2 or 3 really solid riders appearing consistently in the first across the line points through this segment. So feeling pretty good about if I was on Team Vision and supporting them. And Benham, maybe an opportunity to go back to back here. I think that would be our favourite in the field at the moment.
So just having a look at Benham on with power, he's a almost A grade rider, actually. Interestingly, he's B, almost A. He level 35 with an 11.90 15-second sprint. So he just knows how to race. I think. He's my favourite.
Yeah, they're good numbers, but not certainly not. What would you say? Phone it in numbers. Gonna have some competition at that kind of watt per kilo at the pointy end of B grade. But his timing's just been exquisite.
Yep. And we see him racing a smart race at the moment. We've seen him on a couple of those sprints taking points, and then just not there. He's literally just hiding in that bunch.
Yep, picking his moments.
Doing very well. A lot more bunched up as we approach this next intermediate.
Yeah, power up, start playing, and there's the man himself, Benham from Vision and the Fox from Vision, looking to go 1-2 here, and they're doing a good job so far. The Fox looks like he's the nominated rider to take this one out, but they're coming. He's being overridden here. If we got Martin from Cryogen. Possibly, Todd from the Aerodynamics. First place there. Martin from Cryogen holding on for second, and Team Aero really dominant there. Yeah, some nice numbers up there. 4 in the top 10. Just trying a quick look at the rider list there, whether they've split that between Aero Press and the Aerodynamics, or whether the Aerodynamics have taken the chunk of the points there. They do seem to be the dominant team tonight from the Aerodynamics. So whether that's been a coordinated effort after kind of splitting the points last week and both finishing outside those top 2 teams, not sure, but Aerodynamics seem to be making them really lapping up this flat course and competing very, very well on these sprints. So maybe a little interesting twist to the story there. As good as Vision were, maybe Aero might have just closed in a couple of points there.
Yeah, I would have to agree. They definitely had the numbers in the sprint there. So
yep, Annie taking no chances this lap, Josh. She's not going to get dropped and chased. She's just going to sit off the front, make sure she's
wait for everyone to come back to her.
In amongst it. So heading down now to, that was our bell. The bell would have gone through that time through the lap banner onto our last lap now. So after it sort of seemed to take a while to get going there, but now we're sort of ticking off the laps fairly routinely, I suppose. We haven't had the attacks from the early laps. I think the riders have had their go at the long range attacks. They've seen every single long range effort get reeled in by this field, and riders quite happy just to put in that little surge up Whitehall and then save the legs for a bunch of kicks. So I think kicking off about 500 meters from the line, I would say, that's when the power-ups started flying on these later laps and really did come down to a bunch sprint, and timing seems to be the order of the day.
Yeah, about 35-ish riders, I think we've got in this group here. Maybe just under 30 to 35 in this group now. So we have had a bit of attrition throughout the race since we last looked at the numbers.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
We should see a pretty relaxed lap until that final push. I'm hoping to see a few more fireworks at Whitehall and then see what's in store for that final. Is anyone willing to throw something, throw caution to the wind and throw something at the bunch for that last sprint?
Yeah, would love to see someone have a go at this a long range effort from Whitehall. I'm not sure if we could, although WMZ have been quiet for a couple of laps, so they may just have been saving up some legs. They might be cooking up a bit of a plan.
Which lap do you think was fastest through the segment? First or second? Lap 0 or lap 1?
Ooh, good question.
Just been thinking about points for the teams there, but I think surely those first two segments were the faster.
I think so. I think it sort of did kick off early. And speaking
of chases, they were the big chases of those breakaways.
Yeah, and speaking of kicking off early,
got
Tony Byrne from AHDR just looks like AHDR just going to lay down the gauntlet here and for a caution to the wind. They haven't really been in the mix for the mega points. We've seen a couple of AHDR riders snuff some first across the line points, but a bit of aggression here. Heading up to Whitehall, they're going to light up this last lap.
And that's awesome. I've ridden with Tony a couple of times in the Friday morning TT, so great to see AHDR. Look, they've got nothing to lose. Annie in there, staying close.
Yeah, well, Annie's never one to be left out of a move. Martin Tenham, we know he's an aggressive rider, and he's likes a bit of airtime. He's on the front, pushing 4 watts a kilo and just opening up a little bit of a gap here, but probably going to have to see a little bit more intent from these riders, I think, if they're going to hold off this peloton.
And if anything, maybe a counter from teammates as we get up the Whitehall rise here and onto the flats into that last kilometre. So we do need to see a bit more intent, I think, from AHDR at this very late stage of the race if they want to do much.
Yeah, it'd be a nice setup for a counter attack if that's what they're thinking. Sort of, enough of a gap to trigger the chase and stretch out the chase, but. Looks like Martin's kicking on with it now. He's got a 1 second gap, so we are seeing that bunch fall off just a little bit. He's got about 1.5 kilometers to go here. Can he stretch this out? This would be a famous victory if he could do it from here. I wouldn't be betting on him at this point. I think we've seen more promising moves than this get swallowed up, and yeah, it's going to be a really tough effort from here for Martin to try and hold off this rampaging bunch and the big sprinters from WMZ and from Vision and Aero.
And yeah, look, unfortunately, just the reaction from the bunch was there early with Annie and a couple other riders following, but it hasn't been able to sort of stay away. And valiant effort by Martin Tenham there, still sitting out there at, I saw him get up to about 5.5, 6 watts per kilo, but just sitting back at 3 and 4's now, sign of being tired as the bunch really starts to close down on him.
Yep, the sponsors will be very pleased with that one. So, shout out Tim Searle. He'll be happy to see AHDR on the front as WMZB is now taking up the initiative and kicking on from the top with our usual provocateur, Annie. If I can just find her. Actually, it might not be Annie. Who have we got?
No, it was Annie. Pretty sure.
It was Annie? Yeah, I thought so too. It's just hard with these lapped riders. If I click on the wrong one, I'm going to end up in entirely the wrong part of the course.
Yeah.
There we go. We're with our leader now. So Annie's taking the initiative, but WMZ also not able to break this apart. So we've had 2 teams now try and go long and take this race. You'd have to say advantage now goes to Team Vision. So we've seen the Fox and Benham from Vision in amongst it, as well as Ian. So let's see if we can just find a couple of these likely riders. Here's Benham from Vision. We'll sit in with him for this finale. I'm sure he's going to be in amongst it. So Team Aero looking like they're going to be the first to move. We've got Gaza kicking off the front here. from Aero, Slater from Redorex, Cruz from the Z Sundries. We haven't called that name. He's in amongst it. Benem from Vision now closing down. It looks like Ian from Vision has taken the lead. Benem relegated to third at this point. We've got Rob Sparks from WMZBs as well kicking. It looks like Ian from Vision got up there over Sparks from WMZ. I think Benem might have got in to fill the podium for third for Vision. With a couple of other WMZ riders and Team Aeropress looking like they were filling up those pointy end of the peloton there. So I think hats off to Team Vision. I think they've taken the win tonight. I know you've got a fan in the chat, so well done to them. Some huge points there in the finale, first and third, for my eye on lap 6. So really well constructed race from Vision. They didn't go for everything, picked their spots and just timed it brilliantly. And once again, the timing on the finish was exquisite there, with two options as well. So letting one rider go first and then.
We got to remember those big finish line points. That's 40 points just there. So I mean, it's easy to sit in for that for those first few laps. It's only potentially up to 10 points, and they've just taken 4 times that with one sprint. So
absolutely
smart by Vision there.
Yeah, brilliantly executed race from Vision. Looks like they will make it 2 from 2 for this season. Take a dominant spot into week 3. What do we got next week, Josh? Are we back to points racing again next week?
We are, yeah. Points racing again, and then we're our first TT after that.
All right, so that's going to be exciting. What do we got next week?
Stall a bit, and I'll get there.
So it's the usual aggression there from Team WMZ. That was awesome to see. AHDR as well, not laying down. They gave it a crack in that final lap. So I think, to my, obviously we don't have the advanced feed and stats coming through like you would on the GCN coverage or anything like that. But I think Team Vision number 1. I think WMZ and Paul Aeropress in second and third, filling out the podium.
We go by feel.
We go by feel, and
we by gut feel. That's how we roll as Zwiftaholics.
Yeah.
Gut feel racing, gut feel commentary. So next week we have got Park Perimeter around New York. It's a points race, 4 laps, so about just under 40 Ks with 500 meters of climbing.
Wow, so 4 laps, even for the season indeed, that's going to be a punishing race, especially for those lower grades. That's a nasty course. Some really nasty rises there. So
our segment is New York Sprint Forward for the fastest across the line and fastest through segment.
All right, well, looking forward to that one. So plenty of attacking spots there. I'm sure if we jump in with these guys again, we will see Annie lighting it up around those lumps, just long enough, perfect for her to go on the attack. So WMZ will come in with an aggressive strategy, no doubt, and Vision, no doubt, building a strategy around the sprint. So no KOM points. Again, we've sort of got to wait for the latter part of the season where we really see the climbers come to the fore and racing for the KOM points. So yeah, a bit of a different kind of season. Definitely sprinters get their chance to shine early, and we'll see that again next week. So who can survive the punchy climbs and then take out those flat sprints for the points? So thanks everyone for joining us. The chat took a little while to get going, Josh, but once it lit up, it definitely lit up.
We got credit to Espen. He got
he was the instigator. Yeah,
New York. He named New York before I could.
Very good, very good. Yeah. So yeah, chats on it as usual.
That's it. Good luck for your racing this evening, Adam.
Absolutely, yeah. If you want to watch me absolutely suffer and try and hold on to a blisteringly fast A-grade field, we'll be doing that in about an hour's time. And I'll have my good mate David Lewis joining as well. No doubt he'll smash it. No doubt that he'll be holding that front bunch and contesting the finale and maybe some of the intermediates as well. And if I can be there in the finale, that'll be a good night's work for me.
Yeah, definitely. No, sit in, do what you can do. I know you can sit in nicely, Adam. So good luck to tomorrow, and good luck to everyone else racing over the next 24 hours.
Yep, enjoy everyone. I hope you've got something out of watching the tactics tonight. Help you prepare for your races on the later time zones. Good luck, Josh. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you again next week for Tuesday night race night.